Hello and welcome to the latest ATTA webinar and the last Kenya Tourism Board webinar for 2020. Today's webinar is Kenya, the Ultimate Adventure Destinations, presented by James Savage of Savage Wilderness Safaris. James has a passion for outdoor activities, in particular rafting and kayaking. And James grew up in Kenya and went on every possible adventure with his father, including climbing Mount Kenya at the age of 5 and summiting Lanana. Since then, he has climbed Mount Kenya over 150 times, rafted 1,500 kilometers of first descents on Kenyan rivers, and led a 75-day, 6,500 kilometer cycling expedition from Nairobi to Cape Town. I've personally traveled with James's father, Mark, in 1993 on a school trip to Kenya, where I fell in love with both Kenya and Africa. And from here, I subsequently traveled the length and the breadth of the continent, called South Africa home, and I'm now fortunate enough to work with Africa on a daily basis. So it's great to welcome James here today. As always, this webinar is being recorded. The recording will be shared with all of you who have registered after the session, and we'll also be having Q&A. So if you do have any questions, please simply type these into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and I'll address these to James at the end of the session. So I'll now ask James to come and join us and share his presentation. So James, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Pull this up. Screen. Thank you very much, everyone, and welcome. I hope you're all doing well from wherever you're joining us in the world. So, my name's James Savage. I work as a director at Savage Wilderness Safaris, and I've been involved in the outdoors, working here for my whole life. And I'm here to present why I think, why a lot of us think, Kenya is a premier destination for adventure recreational activities. So what are adventure activities? What am I going to be talking to you about today? So it's the likes of rafting, rock climbing, mountain biking, gravel cycling, mountaineering, kite surfing, and so forth. My computer seems to have frozen. Now, there we go. So rafting. Rafting in Kenya, we've got some absolutely fantastic rafting from single day to multi-day trips. The single day rafting takes place on the Tana River and the Mathioya River. They're both about 2 hours north of Nairobi towards Mount Kenya. The Tana River is a river that you can raft all year round. It does have a low water and a high water season. Low water is January through until the end of March, and then again July through until early October. Then the high water season is during our rains, and that is April through till June, and then November, December. The Tana River is a class 2, 3, 4, and occasionally class 5 in high water. It's a pool drop river, and it's a very versatile river. It's very family friendly, and it offers a lot. And when I say it's a pool drop river, you have a big rapid followed by a calm water section where you can soak up the sun and enjoy the bird life and the scenery around. It's not all about the rapids, a lot of great scenery to take in. And if people want to challenge themselves a little bit more, this is a great surf wave on the Tana River where we can go for a capsize and just have a little bit of fun. The Mathioya River, it's more of a seasonal river, and that's only run during the rainy season, which is April through till June, and then November and December. It's a class 3, 4 river. It's a continuous river, unlike the Tana, which is a pool drop. It drops about 450 meters over 22 kilometers. So it's continuous, and we advise people who raft the Methuen to do over 2 days, start on the Tana, and then the second day move over onto the Methuen. Multi-day rafting in Kenya, the Athi River, the best location, and actually currently the only location that we're offering. But that's a multi-day trip. It's about 4 hours south of Nairobi, southeast down the Mombasa Road, bordering Tsavo East National Park. We carry everything, or the operators carry everything in the boats, and head on down the river. Minimum of 3 days, 2 nights, maximum of up to 7 days on the river, self-supported. It's more of a scenic river than a whitewater river. It is a very seasonal river, and it only happens during the rainy season. So sort of middle of April through to middle of June, and then again November and early December. Everything's carried in the boats. See a nice sandy bank, sort of 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening, pull the bank up, set up camp, cook on open fires, and then just enjoy. You do get a chance to see wildlife on this river. We've seen elephant, bushbuck, buffalo, giraffe, that kind of stuff. And there are hippo and crocodile in this river. The other rivers, the Tana and the Methuen, do not have any hippo and crocs. But camping on pristine sandy white beaches like the photo you see, really nothing beats that. Ducky rafting on the smaller rivers around Kenya. You can do ducky rafting on the Yala River in Western Kenya through the Kakamega Forest, the Uasin River in the South Rift, just sort of north, just past Magadi, sorry. And then also we offer ducky rafting on the Tana River when it's low. This is a great family activity, small rapids, a lot of fun, and a great way to see the country. Fantastic bird life and good fauna. This moves on to kayaking. Probably my favorite activity. It's my passion. It's what I enjoy doing the most. I've definitely opened more than 400 or 500 kilometers of first descent in Kenya in a kayak, and that's sort of mainly in the Central Highlands and the Western Highlands in Western Kenya. So kayaking, it's a great family activity. People come to learn to kayak. What better place to learn to kayak than in Kenya, where the water is warm. There's good British qualified through the British canoeing instructors. And it's a great way to sort of introduce you to white water as well, because you're not really scared to get wet because it's warm. It's also a great place to sort of like step up your kayaking if people are interested, and sort of like get into bigger, nicer white water. It's also a great location for kayak clubs, local kayak clubs, university kayak clubs to come and kayak. A lot of people go to the Alps yearly. Kenya is also a great destination. People are wanting to go a little bit more extreme. There's definitely that in Kenya as well, for your sort of more solo traveler who's looking for a little bit more adventure. For those who land is more of their favorite thing, there is fantastic mountaineering, as you all are aware. I know there's been several webinars on sort of mountains of East Africa and climbing in Kenya. But in my eyes, Mount Kenya, smaller than its big brother Kilimanjaro, far more beautiful mountain. It's a very much quieter mountain, and there's a lot to do and explore up there. And again, it's open for families and kids. You don't have to summit. It's not all about summiting. It's about just being in the mountains and enjoying the scenery, the fauna and the flora. There is also very good hiking and climbing on the other mountains around Kenya, the Aberdares, Mount Elgon, all are above 4,000 meters, and they've got some great walks. Want to try something a little bit harder, get into some rock climbing, there's definitely the option to climb the technical peaks, Batien and Nelion, and some of the other smaller peaks on the mountain. just moving on from that, sort of walking safaris and other hikes that you can do in Kenya. There is abundance of hiking here, from day hikes to multi-day hikes, supported or unsupported. Just to name a few, like the Ngong Hills, Suswa, Mount Longonot, Hell's Gate, Loiter Hills, Cheranganis, Chulu Hills. I mean, the list goes on and on. So there's great hiking, great rambling. If you're wanting to do multi-day stuff, then, I mean, what better way to do it than with camels supporting you. So the camels carry your kits. If you want to ride the camels, you're a little bit tired, you can do that. But basically the idea is just to get into really remote wilderness environments where cars generally don't go, camp in really special places, camels have carried everything for you, and you just pitch up to camp. Horse safaris, also very popular. It doesn't have to be a safari as such. There's lots of places around Kenya where you could do a day trip or a morning ride. Karua Forest in Nairobi is one of the places. Then you can, if you're looking for a bit more of a horse safari as such, go see the Big Five. There's great safaris on the Laikipia and in the Masai Mara. Rock climbing. This is probably this is actually a very good family activity, and it's a filler to any sort of itinerary. There's some great places in Kenya to climb. It's one of the Kenya's lesser known activities, I would say. There's a couple of operators offering some very good climbing. Sagana, Lukenya, Hell's Gate, up on the Laikipia, Aberdares. Yeah, really good climbing all over the place. It's a great way to fill a morning with the family. It's also a great way to, just break up a journey. Kenya has everything to offer, from beginners through intermediate into extreme climbing, people who are pushing the limits. Canyoneering and caving, another activity not so well known in this country, but a really good one. Canyoning, best canyoning in Kenya is definitely in Ngarandara Forest, which is north of Tamau on the foothills of Mount Kenya. There's also a little bit of canyoning in the Ngurumans down near in the South Rift. But this is a very fun activity. Again, it's all catered to families and people who are looking for a little bit more adventure. Caving. Two great places to go caving in Kenya. So the caves of Kenya are lava tube caves, unlike the sort of caves you get in Europe, which are limestone caves. Lava tube caves formed because of our big volcanic activity. Suswa and the Chulu Hills offer the best caving in Kenya. The Chulu Hills, I don't know if any of you are aware, but there's a cave in there called Leviathan, which is the third longest cave and lava tube cave in the world, and it's over 11 kilometers of what's been discovered so far. Cycling and mountain biking, such gravel biking, e-biking, heli biking, where you get your helicopter to carry your bike up to the top of a great descent. All popular and possible in Kenya. I don't know if a lot of you are aware, but cycling has exploded during the pandemic, and there's a shortage of bikes. Actually, I've been trying to buy some e-bikes recently and told there's I won't be able to get any until sort of June. But yeah, great cycling in Kenya. There's thousands and thousands of kilometers of single track, dirt roads, animal tracks, cattle tracks, through conservancies, around the outskirts of conservancies. So there's possibility to see wildlife if you're looking for that. Those people who are not looking for that and who want to sort of like see more of the culture and the scenery, there's endless opportunities for great cycling, whether it's on a mountain bike or a gravel bike. The picture you see there is a guy cycling in the Mara on a gravel bike, or on the e-bike. There's those who want a little easier time, but still want to cover some distance. Then there's the opportunity of e-bikes. People who are looking for a little bit more adventure, then heli biking on Mount Kenya in the Laikipia, get helicoptered up, save the big cycle in or the big walk in, and get dropped off and ride down off the mountain or off the big hill that you've been dropped off at. Yeah, so that's for people who are looking for a little bit more sort of extreme enduro style riding. One of the great things about Kenya is with the adventure activities, it's definitely opening itself up to disabled travelers. The picture you see there is the gentleman on the back is blind and he's on a tandem bike with his guide. Zip lines and canopy tours, great for the family. There are several places in Kenya to zip line. The best place is definitely Kareta Forest, which is about 45 minutes west towards the Rift Valley from Nairobi. There are 6 great zip lines. The longest one is 400 meters. A couple of other places that you can zip line. There is Sagana, and there is also Machakos and a few others scattered around the country when you start looking for them. Canopy walks. The Ngarandara Forest offers some fantastic canopy walks. It's get up off the ground, possibility to see wildlife, but you also just get to see the country from a different perspective, up high, closer to the birds, closer to sort of the tops of the trees. Motorized sports. What does Kenya have to offer in the way of motorbike sports? There's fantastic quad biking, whether you're looking for a day trip or a multi-day trip, or a quad bike safari, Masai Mara, Laikipia, Rift Valley, and other places around. It's a great way as well just to cover some distance, get to some really remote places, and just have a great time. Rhino Charge, I don't know if any of you have heard about the Rhino Charge. I just put this in there because I think it's Kenya's, if not the world premier ultimate 4x4 challenge. If you guys don't know much about it, just Google it, have a look. The Rhino Charge happens in Kenya every year in June. But this also leads me on to this. You can rent a 4x4 similar to like you can do in Southern Africa, fully kitted out, and set your own itinerary and go out and have a lot of fun. Coastal activities, Kenya has it all, from kite surfing to stand-up paddleboarding, dinghy sailing, water skiing, jet skis, fantastic diving and snorkeling. Yeah, it's there isn't anything on the coast really in the way of coastal activities that Kenya isn't offering. Fishing, also not too well. Kenya's not too well known for its fishing, but it has really good trout fishing up on Mount Kenya, the Aberdares, other streams and private reservoirs around the country. The deep sea fishing off the Kenyan coast, sport fishing for sailfish, outstanding. Great Nile perch fishing on Lake Turkana and Lake Victoria. There's really good sports tiger fishing on Lake Turkana. And then you've also got your catfish, your tilapia and that kind of stuff. Just rivers and dams around the country. And then aerial activities. So aerial activities, there's good paragliding, bungee jumping, a 60-meter bungee jump at Sagana, and then you've got your helicopter and, as you know, balloon safaris as well. So one of the questions probably at the forefront of everyone's mind is these adventure activities in Africa, is it safe? Well, there is always an inherent element of risk whenever you do these activities, wherever you do them in the world. But it is our job as a provider to balance the perceived risk and actual risk and just reduce the actual risk to the lowest possible. Please do your research if you're choosing to do these activities as an individual or setting up an itinerary for a group or as a family. Do your research, questions to ask the providers. Do they have public liability insurance? What are their standard operating procedures, their risk assessments, emergency procedures, and so on. And then from there, you can choose an operator that suits you and come and have a great time. So I've just put up on the screen there a couple of cool events that events, challenges that Kenya has to offer. Feel free to have a look at them, research them. This is just some of the cool activities that Kenya offers. And I think now I'll open the board to any questions. And thank you very much for your time, guys. I hope you enjoyed that.
Great, thank you, James. Great presentation. Great to see so many varied and different adventure activities on offer across the country in Kenya. So as we said at the beginning, there is the opportunity now for Q&A. If you do have any questions, please just type these into the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. So just one question that's come through from the registration, James, is I know you mentioned a couple of activities being good for families. Is there any one specific activity that you might sort of flag up as sort of a top activity for families to be able to do?
I would say pretty much all of them, maybe except your bungee jumping and paragliding. But I mean, the rafting is fantastic. We take a lot of children rafting, a lot of school groups rafting, hiking on Mount Kenya, your camel safaris, zip lining is a great activity to do with the family. Teaching them how to kayak and learn to kite surf. The great thing about family holidays and the great thing about Kenya is your provider can definitely tailor the safari and tailor the activity to suit children, and give the children and adults, the whole family, an amazing experience.
That's fantastic.
If I would choose one though, I'm very biased. I would say rafting.
Got to be a water-based one. Questions just come through from Gina. Are there minimum ages on the activities?
Yes, there are definitely minimum ages for activities, and you would have to speak to your provider. For example, on the rafting, we have a minimum age to go. Class 3 and above would be 14 years of age. Class 3 and below, it's staggered. Again, it depends on water levels as well. So your provider, whatever activity you're looking at, will let you know what activities the children can and can't do. And if there is, for example, on the Tana River, if come rafting with a family, when we get to it's a pool drop river, so when we get to a big rapid, if it's too big to take the children down, the children can walk around with the safety kayak or one of the guides. The adults can come through and pick the children up at the bottom and continue on.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's good that there's that degree of flexibility. So thank you for that. Okay, we don't have any further questions that have come through as yet, so we will wrap this up. So James, thank you very much for your time for the presentation. To all the attendees that were listening, thank you also for taking time out of your day to tune in to the webinar. And to the Kenya Tourism Board team, thank you very much for helping us facilitate these webinars. So in the meantime, we will see you all next time. So James, thank you, and KTB, thank you.
Thank you very much.